Good morning. This series of classes is conducted by Swami Tattwamayananda, a senior monk of the Ramakrishna Order of India, who is currently the minister in charge of the Vedanta Society of Northern California in San Francisco, a center which was founded by Swami Vivekananda in 1900. Swami Tattwamayananda has served at various centers of the order in India as editor and publisher and as teacher of Sanskrit and of the classical texts of the Vedanta philosophy in the light of Sri Shankaracharya's commentaries. Before coming to the United States in 2012, he was teaching at the Ramakrishna Order's monastic training center at Bilur in India. The Swami received a traditional education in Sanskrit and Vedantic scriptures, as well as an excellent modern university education, specializing in English literature, Western philosophy, and European history. He is frequently invited for lectures on yoga, Vedanta, and traditional Hindu scriptures. He is currently giving weekly classes on the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali using the classical commentaries. These classes are being recorded in audiovisual format and are available online. This present series of classes on the Bhagavad Gita that is begun today is intended for all those who know a little Sanskrit, but who have not had a chance to study in the traditional way under a teacher conversant with the disciplines of Nyaya, Vedanta, Vyakarana, and Mimamsa. It is through concentrated study for a long period in this way that traditional teachers have been able to preserve and transmit to future generations the wisdom inherited from their forefathers. We are honored and happy to be able to present these ancient teachings in a modern format in this series of classes. The Bhagavad Gita is considered to be of the stature of an Upanishad, and it is in that spirit that this series of classes is begun. It is fitting that this ancient scripture should be studied in this traditional way.
Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudramarudastun. So now we begin this Mangalacharana, a shloka that you find at the beginning of Shankaracharya's commentary, which is a maṅgalācaraṇa and also Vishaya Nirdesha. So it is a way of starting a great work in a very auspicious manner. So we should remember, all great commentators used to be great devotees. So sometimes they used to pray to the Lord for making their work meaningful and fruitful to the posterity, to the readers, because they have to go through different processes. For every commentary, every kind of vyakyanam or interpretation, there are different stages. So without God's grace, it is not possible for even a great scholar to be accurate and precise in his interpretation of a text. So padachedo padarthoktir vigraho vakyayojana akshayapascha samadhanam vyakyanam shadvidham matam. So going through this process of splitting the words and explaining the padartha and then vigraha, vakyayojana, then projecting a possible objection and giving an appropriate response and establishing one's own standpoint. All this require something beyond human scholarship. It also requires God's grace. So the first part of the Bhashya work is Mangalacharana. And it also contains Vishaya Nirdesha. You find Nārāyaṇaḥ, the word is used. Om nārāyaṇaḥ paro'vyaktādaṇḍamavyaktasambhavam aṇḍasyāntastvime lokāḥ saptadvīpā medinī. This is the Mangalacharana. So Mangalācharanam itself is very important, and it has got a special relevance in Vedantic tradition. So Prakāśātma says, Sarvada sarvakareshu nasti tesham amangalam yesham kridistho bhagavan mangalayatano hari. So in many of the texts, Mangalacharanam also includes Vishaya Nirdesha. So here the word used is Nārāyaṇaḥ. The Mangalacharana sloka begins with Om, which is Pranava, and the word Nārāyaṇaḥ is used. Apo Nara iti prokta, Apo vai Narasunavaha, Ayanam tasyata purvam, Tena Nārāyaṇa smrtaha. So, Nārāyaṇa is the abode and also the ultimate destination of human existence. Ayanam means Gati. So, Nārāyaṇa is the ultimate reality. And this avyakta, prakriti, it evolves from Nārāyaṇa. So Nārāyaṇa para is the Vishaya Nirdesha. In this context, Mangalacharanam also includes Vishaya Nirdesha. So the Mangalacharana sloka here is Om nārāyaṇaḥ paro'vyaktādaṇḍamavyaktasambhavam aṇḍasyāntastvime lokāḥ saptadvīpā medinī. This is the Mangala sloka in the Shankara Bhashya. Here, the first line is Om nārāyaṇaḥ paraha avyaktād. That's the first part. Om is the most auspicious sound symbol in Vedantic tradition. Om is Pranava, and it is supposed to be the essence of the whole Vedic philosophy. Veda Sara Sarvaswam is Om. The word Nārāyaṇaḥ is very important here. Nārāyaṇaḥ here stands for Paramatma, Ayanam Gatihi. So the word Para here implies Aprameya Swarupa, that which cannot be perceived, comprehended or understood through mind and five senses, mana and indriya. So it's beyond mind and beyond intellect. So it is Aprameya Swarupa. It is Sarva Pramana Atita. So Avyakta. The word Avyakta here means Maya, that is the inexplicable, indescribable avidya shakti that is responsible for the feeling that Brahman has become the world, Brahman has not become the world. So Nārāyaṇaḥ is beyond Avyakta. Nārāyaṇaḥ is Maya Athisha. As Paramatma, it is beyond Maya. It is beyond sensory perception. And this Brahmanda is what is meant by Anda, which is this cosmos. Andam avyaktasambhavam, aṇḍasyāntastvime lokāḥ saptadvīpā medinī. So this Brahmanda itself is avyaktasambhavam. It emerges from avyakta, from Maya. And this universe, which consists of 7 islands, this earth, it's called medinī, which consists of 7 islands or 7 continents, constitute this visible universe, of which Jambudvīpa is one part. So Jambudvipa, Prakshadvipa, Shalmaladvipa, Kushadvipa, Kraunjadvipa, Shakadvipa and Pushkaradvipa. These are the 7 islands, 7 dvipa, saptadvīpā medinī is mentioned here. So Om is the most auspicious sound symbol. That's how this Mangalacharana begins. Nārāyaṇaḥ paraha avyaktād. Nārāyaṇaḥ avyaktād paraha. Nārāyaṇa is beyond avyakta, beyond Maya. Nārāyaṇa is the ultimate reality, present and immanent in the whole creation. Nārāyaṇa is aṇḍasyāmi. And it is beyond all pramanas, beyond sensory perception. And this Brahmanda, this cosmos, it emerges from avyakta. And this earth of ours, which consists of 7 islands, saptadvīpā medinī, is a part of this Brahmanda. Now, in this context, Anandagiri makes a very interesting statement at the beginning of his tika. Pratyanja machyudam natva guru nabi gariyasaha kriyade sisya shikshaye yida bhashya vivechanam. So Anandagiri, he writes a very simple, lucid tika on Shankaracharya's commentary, which he called Anandagiri Tika, which is a stepping stone to the higher ideas enshrined in the Bhashya literature. Now Anandagiri also says karmanistha jnananistha idi upayopeya bhūtam nisthadvayam adhikritya pravrittam Gita Shastram. So before entering his tika, at the very beginning of his tika on Shankara Bhashya, Anandagiri says the whole Gita Shastram explains karmanistha and jnananistha. Karmanistha is upaya and jnananistha is upeya. So the whole Gita is an exposition of Vaidika dharma, which consists of pravritti and nivritti, which we are going to discuss in detail in the coming days. So we have to remember this is the essence of Mangalacharana. This universe, which consists of 7 islands, 7 continents, is part of this cosmos, Brahmanda, and Avyakta is beyond Brahmanda, and Nārāyaṇaḥ is beyond Avyakta. Nārāyaṇa is Paramatma, Antaryami, the indweller in the whole creation. And not only that, saptadvīpā medinī, aṇḍasyāntastvime lokāḥ, ime lokāḥ means all these different levels of existence. So traditionally, Vedantic scholars say there are altogether 14 lokās. Loka means what we experience, what we see is called loka. Lokyate, jnāyate, iti lokāḥ. This is the definition given by Shankarānanda Saraswati. A simple definition is lokāḥ, lokyate, iti lokāḥ. Whatever we see, whatever we experience, the whole creation consisting of different levels of consciousness, 14 lokas, constitute this Brahmanda, and this Brahmanda is an evolute of Avyakta, and Nārāyaṇaḥ is the Paramatman, the Antaryami, the spiritual reality, the divine spirit present in everything, is the origin of everything. And of course the traditional scholars speak of 7 higher celestial regions including earth and 7 lower regions, 7 urdhaloka and 7 atholoka. Bhu, that is this earth of ours, bhuva, suva, maha, jana, tapa, satya. These are the 7 lokas, 7 levels of human or not only human, 7 levels of existence, going beyond human, Bhuva, Suva, Maha, Jana, Tapa, Satya. These 6 regions are celestial regions above the level of earth. And then there are 7 atholokas, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasatala, Talatala, Mahatala and Patala. These are the 7 lokas that exist below the earth level. So, the Mangalacharana itself is unique in many ways. On the one hand, it in a way accepts the theory of creation, but it also implies that creation itself is not real. It is, from the highest point of view, it is unreal, but it is not unreal in the sense that it doesn't exist at all. We live in this world, we experience the empirical phenomena, it's part of our existence, but it is not absolute reality. It is not sarvikara atida, rather it is sarvikara athina. All that we experience in this world go through these 6 changes called sarvikaras. Jayade, asti, vardhade, viparinamade, kshiyate, or apakshiyate, vinasyati. And they belong to time. They have a past, they have a present and a future. So, they are real only in the relative sense. They are not real with the capital letter R in the absolute sense. They are born sometime in the past. They exist for some time. Maybe this universe may exist for several billions of years. An insect may exist for a few minutes. Still they belong to time because they are born at some point of time in the past. They exist maybe for millions of years or billions of years, or maybe for a few minutes. Still they belong to time and they will change their nature. Anything that is subject to change is only relative. It is not real in the absolute sense, but it is not unreal in the absolute sense because they do have an existence, they have an empirical relative existence. So, all the way from Paramatma, Nārāyaṇaḥ, this Mangalacharana brings us to our own world. From the highest Paramatma, that is beyond Avyakta, it comes down to our own world and our own level. That is the uniqueness of this Mangalacharana. Now we will begin Shankaracharya's commentary itself. So yesterday I mentioned a few very important aspects of this Bhashya. Today we are going to begin its in detailed discussion. So, a few more important points to remember. This Bhagavad Gita as we read today has got altogether 700 verses divided into 18 chapters. They are taken from the Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata. It is a gigantic classic, around 100,000 verses. 18 chapters are from 25th to 42nd chapters of Bhishma Parva. And as I mentioned, there are 700 verses, but there are some scholars who would say that it contains 745 verses. They quote a pramana from the 43rd chapter of Mahabharata. That means Bhagavad Gita ends with the 42nd chapter of Bhishma Parva, but on the 43rd chapter there is a verse, Sat Shatani Samvishani Slokanam Praha Keshava Arjuna Saptapanjashat Saptasashthim tu Sanjaya. This is only for academic interest, so we will go straight to the Bhashya now. Sa Bhagavan Srishtva Idam Jagat Tasya Cha Sthidin Chikirsuhu Marichadin Agre Srishtva Prajapadin Pravritti Lakshanam Dharmam Grahayamasa Vedoktam. So, at the beginning of this, what is called Ubodhgata. So, Ubodhgata means introduction or preface. So, at the very beginning of the Ubodhgata, which is a preface or introduction to the Bhashya proper, Bhashyagara wants to bring out one central point. Vaidika dharma is twofold. One is pravritti dharma, the other is nivritti dharma. In a way, it reflects the natural spiritual evolution of humanity. Those who are more contemplative in nature, those who are born with higher spiritual characteristics because of their spiritual practices in the previous life, will have a natural tendency to move away from worldly obligations, not because they want to avoid them, but because they look upon them as something secondary. So, if a person feels that he doesn't need worldly enjoyments because he is naturally inclined to contemplative life, more is a tendency to move away from the active social work and different kinds of activities meant for acquiring means for empirical enjoyment, pleasure. There are people like that who are spiritually evolved. They won't care for this world. They have a natural tendency to lead a contemplative spiritual life. They transcend that level, not that they reject it, but they transcend, they go beyond it. That's a higher spiritual culture that you find among a small group of humanity. That is what is called nivritti dharma. But that's an exception. Pravritti dharma is a natural human tendency to acquire artha and kama, means for enjoyment and enjoyment of the desires, fulfillment of the desires. So based on the principles of dharma, they work hard to make money, to acquire wealth, to enjoy this world. Nothing wrong in it. That's the nature of the majority of humanity. It is called pravritti dharma. So the Bhashyagara first brings out this very important aspect of human spiritual evolution. Those who are highly evolved, those who are naturally, instinctively interested in leading a spiritual life, in contrast to the natural human tendencies for acquiring wealth and enjoying this world. These people who are contemplative in nature, they are the followers, or they are the one who deserve to practice nivritti dharma. It is not a matter of choice, it's a matter of spiritual evolution. We cannot just choose the way we go to a shop and choose whether we want orange or apple. It's not a matter of choice or our preference. It's a matter of our spiritual evolution. You cannot go and sit in a higher class in the university because you like it. You should have acquired the necessary qualities so that you become fit for higher education. Then only you'll be allowed to go to a bigger university, higher university. So it's not a matter of our choice or preference, it's a matter of our fitness, spiritual fitness. So that's the subject we are going to discuss at the beginning of the Bhashya. So Bhagavan Srishtva Idam Jagat. So Bhagavan Idam Jagat Srishtva. Bhagavan is the Lord. We already discussed in an earlier session, who is a Bhagavan? Bhagavan is a divine spiritual personality. He could be an incarnation or could be a highly evolved spiritual person. So they are endowed with, such persons are endowed with 6 spiritual qualities. Not only spiritual, they are endowed with 6 unique attributes. Aishwaryasya samagrasya dharmasya yasasa sriyaka jnana vairagyyoschaiva shannam bhaga iti iridaha. So Aishwarya, they may not necessarily be wealthy in the worldly sense, but they will be fully contented, inner contentment, divine contentment. So poverty is actually, it manifests in the form of dissatisfaction, depression, discontent. And Aishwarya is a state of, or a situation where you are fully endowed with all that you need. You are not in need of anything. Dharmasya esasa sriyaka. And such a divine person, a Bhagavan, will be the embodiment of dharma. He will be established in dharma. And he will have kirti. And he will have splendor. And he will have higher spiritual wisdom, jnana. And he will have total detachment, non-attachment, renunciation. They may have everything, but they won't be attached to anything. Shannam bhaga iti irita. These are the 6 characteristics that constitute the 6 bhagas. And a divine person, actually such a person will be a divine person, who is endowed with these qualities, is Bhagavan. So that's why we call Bhagavan Vishnu, Bhagavan Shankaracharya, Bhagavan Buddha, we call maybe Jesus Christ can be called a Bhagavan in the sense that he is highly spiritually evolved persons could be called Bhagavan. Because this vairagya, this passion, a strong sense of non-attachment or renunciation, coupled with higher wisdom, is possible only for highly evolved persons who are highly evolved spiritually. Vairagyasya atha mokshasya shannam bhaga iti irita. That's another version. So they will be living in this world, but they will be free from all kinds of bondages, worldly attachments. Ulpatti prayam chaiva bhudanam agadim gadim veti vidyam avidyam cha savacho bhagavan iti. So another characteristic of Bhagavan is he will be a repository of higher spiritual wisdom. So here Lord Vishnu, or the creator, is called Bhagavan. So Bhagavan Srishtva idam jagat. Of course, Srishti is not real in Advaita Vedanta. Srishti is only relative. All statements related to Srishti are designed with one purpose. In the absolute analysis, Srishti itself is not accepted as a permanent reality. But then, this world in which we live is not absolutely unreal. Of course, it is not absolutely real either. So, at the relative level, creation is accepted, and the creatorship of a created God is also acceptable at the relative level. Tasya sthitim chikisuhu. After having created this world, Bhagavan, the Lord, he became desirous of doing something for the protection and preservation of this world which he created. Marichyadin agre srishtva prajapatin pravritti lakshanam dharmam grahayama savedoktam. So, first God created this world. Then He created Prajapatis. So Prajapatis are the great ancestors who practiced pravritti dharma. So in actual practice, pravritti dharma means you follow the path of dharma and you go through the natural process of acquiring wealth, becoming part of a family, performing your family obligations, social obligations, and then finally, after vanaprasthasana, one may take to sannyasa. So many of these great Prajapatis, they were also great teachers. So they went through this natural process of Brahmacharyasrama, Garhasthyam, Vanaprasthasrama, Sannyasa. So during the first 12 years, they will practice Brahmacharya, they will study the Vedas, and then after leaving the school, they enter Grihasthasrama. They will practice these great values meant for Grihasthasrama. Matrudevo bhava, pitudevo bhava, acharyadevo bhava, adithidevo bhava. Doing all the duties and performing all responsibilities pertaining to Grihasthasrama life. And then when they become old, when they will retire from active obligations. As Manusmriti says, Grihasthasya yada pasye bali palidamatmanaha apatyasya apatyam tada aranyam samasayet. So Grihasthasrami who had undergone Vedic education, then had entered householder's life, Grihasthasrama life, will take to contemplative life, may go to a forest hermitage. He may, when he feels that his hair is getting grey or his face is getting wrinkled, when he sees apatyasya apatyam, when he sees the face of the grandson, that means the progeny, the lineage will be preserved. Then instead of continuing life as usual in the ordinary worldly surroundings, he will take to contemplative life, may go to a forest or may perhaps go to a lonely place. So it need not be forest, it could be a place where one may lead an active contemplative, like action involving contemplation, means studying the Vedas, teaching the Vedas, studying the scriptures, meditation. That is also some kind of an activity. But that's different from the normal activity of an household. That's called Vanaprasthasrama, the third asrama, the third stage in the evolution of any enlightened person. And finally, he may take sannyasa if he wants. So, the Bhashyakara says, God first created this world. Then he was desirous of doing something for its preservation. So he created these 10 Prajapatis. So the names of these 10 Prajapatis are outlined in the famous Manusmriti. Mariji, Atri, Angirasu, Pulastyam, Pulaham, Kradum, Prachedasam, Vasishtham, cha Bhrugum, Naradamevacha. So Manusmriti, the first chapter, makes this point. Mariji, Atri, Angira, Pulastya, Pulaha, Kradu, Prachedasa, Vasishtha, Bhrigu, Narada. These are the 10 Prajapatis. They are the great elders. Mariji, Atri, Angirasu, Pulastyam, Pulaham, Kradum, Prachedasam, Vasishthancha, Bhrugum, Naradamevacha. So now, by creating Prajapatis, the Lord has done enough to preserve pravritti dharma tradition. Then Bhashyakara says, Tataka, then after having created Prajapatis, he wanted to do something for those who have a natural tendency to lead a contemplative life right from their birth. Tataha anyan cha sanaga sanantanadi utpadya nivritti lakshanam dharmam jnana vairagya lakshanam grahayamasa. So, after having created the 10 Prajapatis, the Lord created Sanaga, Sanatana, Sanatkumara and Sanantana. So, Sanaga, Sanantana, Sanatkumara and Sanatana. So, these are the 4 great sages who preserved the Nivritti Lakshanam. That is, Sanaga, Sanantana, Sanatana, Sanatkumara. And then he taught them not Pravritti Lakshanam Dharma, but Jnana Vairagya Lakshanam Dharma. So Nivritti Dharma is called Nivritti Dharma. So Nivritti Dharma was taught to Sanagadi. Sanaga, Sanantana, Sanatana and Sanatkumara. These great sages were taught Nivritti Lakshanam, Jnana Vairagya Lakshanam Dharma. That's the idea behind. And then he sums up the whole process. Dividhohi vedokto dharmaha pravritti lakshano nivritti lakshanascha jagadasthiti karanam praninam sakshat abhyudaya nisresa hetuhu yaha sadharmo brahmanadihi varnibhihi asamibhihi jasrayorthibhihi anushthiyamana. This is a very great statement, a famous statement. Dividhohi vedokto dharmaha pravritti lakshano nivritti lakshanascha. So here Vedokta Dharma should be taken to mean the very natural cultural tradition of humanity. Because you find in our countries, in our cultures, you find these 2 types of people, 2 trends. Of course, those who practice Nivritti Lakshana Dharma, it's Jnana and Vairagya, are very, very few. And maybe in some cultures, it may not be even acceptable. I mean, if somebody takes to contemplative life right from early childhood, it may not be acceptable in certain traditions. But in Vedic tradition, it was acceptable. So, Baladva, that is Brahmacharyadva, Baladva, Grihadva, Vanadva, yad akhareva virajit, tad akhareva pravrajit. So, Baladva, or Brahmacharyadva, Grihadva, Vanadva, yad akhareva virajit, tad akhareva pravrajit. If a person feels enough with this world, I don't want to work hard to acquire money, billions of dollars, putting all the money in the bank and taking sleeping pills every day, suffering anxiety and depression. I don't want. I'm going through these endless cycles of birth, life, death and rebirth. There are people, those who have reached a higher level of spiritual evolution. They get this higher wisdom. They feel enough of this cyclic rotation. That's what Buddha calls praditya samutpada, going through these 12 link cycles of birth, life, death, and again rebirth, continuing the same game. A wheel out of which we never come out. So people who are highly evolved due to their good karmas or spiritual sadhanas in their past life are born with a natural tendency of total non-attachment, dispassion and a sense of renunciation towards the world and worldly comforts. They are fit for the practice of Nivritti Lakshanam Dharma, Nivritti Dharma. This is natural for those who are highly evolved. So, Bhagavan Bhashyakara says, Dividhogi vedokto dharmaha pravritti lakshano nivritti lakshanascha jagadasthiti karanam. This twofold Vaidika dharma is the central foundation, is the very foundation of the preservation and continuation of higher culture and higher civilization. Praninam sakshat abhyudaya nisrayasa hetuhu. Abhyudaya means dharma, artha and kama, and slowly, finally, evolving, progressing towards moksha. That is, you may work hard to acquire wealth, the means and tools for enjoying this world. But you do not deviate from the path of dharma. That's called abhyudaya. And once you reach a stage of saturation without deviating from the path of dharma, then what happens? At one point, you come to realize, well, money, wealth, this artha and kama do not constitute the whole of human aspirations. Then you start thinking of what lies beyond. You start thinking of what is beyond today, what is beyond the sensory perception, what's the true meaning and relevance of human life and human existence. Then you start thinking of liberation or moksha. It's a gradual process. Then there is Shreya, that is moving straight towards the Parama Purushartha or liberation. Yaha sadharmo brahmanadyehi varnibhihi asamibhihi cha srayorthibhihi anushthiyamanaha. So this dharma, this Vaidika dharma was practiced by great people right from the beginning of human civilization, in all cultures, in all traditions. So Mahabharata gives a very interesting and very pointed explanation of this dharma dvaya. Dvavimo adhapanthano yatra veda pradishthitaha pravritti lakshano dharmo nivrittischa vibhagita. So Bhagavad Shanti Parva says, so wherever or in whichever culture Vedas constitute the essence of life, there are two paths open before humanity, spiritual seekers. One, the path of pravritti lakshana dharma, that is pravritti dharma. The other is nivritti lakshana dharma or nivritti dharma. Dvavimo adhapanthano yatra veda pradishthitaha pravritti lakshano dharmo nivrittischa vibhavitaha. It's a very famous statement in the Mahabharata Shanti Parva. So, and Bhashyakara says, this dharma, yaha sadharmo brahmanadyehi varnibhihi cha srayorthibhihi anushthiyamanaha. This dharma was practiced by Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. These are 4 levels of human spiritual and cultural evolution. Please remember, these varnasama dharma or chadurvarnya dharma, it has nothing to do with caste of birth. If a person is born with higher spiritual aspirations, then naturally he will choose what he wants to choose or what he considers to be the proper path for him. It's natural. So those who are born with a contemplative nature, those who do not want to engage in activities for making money or wealth, those who want to think of higher spiritual values, they naturally follow a path, a way of life, and that way of life is the path of Brahmanas. So of course, our great spiritual teachers of India, they have tried to analyze these 4 human psychological types or human tendencies. Human tendencies and temperaments and characteristics are analyzed according to sattva-guna, rajo-guna and tamo-guna. Those who are naturally endowed with or with a tendency to study to learn, to contemplate. They may have a predominance of sattva-guna. And those who are active by nature may be interested in adventurous activities, joining an army or the police, law enforcement. They will have a different temperament. Such people may be called kshatriyas. Then there are people who are born with a natural tendency, genius for making money by trade, through business. They may be called kshatriyas. And there are those who may not belong to any of these categories. Such people may be called Sudras. So we have to remember, there is no such thing as a birth-based Chadurvarnya Vyavastha in Vedantic tradition. Of course, maybe due to the influence of Smritis and Puranas over the centuries, classification of humanity based on natural instincts and spiritual qualities and cultural attainments became a birth-based, highly regimented, rigid system, which is responsible for what it later became. It became casteism. So, of course, according to traditional scholars, those who have got a predominance of sattva-guna and, of course, a predominance of sattva-guna and some rajo-guna and tamo-guna, they may be interested in indriya jaya, what I mean, in restraining the senses, controlling their mind, going for higher spiritual wisdom, in penance, in meditation. They may be patient by nature, may be straightforward, may have a natural tendency for acquiring knowledge. They may not take much interest in activities for making money or wealth. Such people who are contemplative by nature, they may be called brahmanas. Then there are those who are kshatriyas. They may have a predominance of rajoguna and also some sattva-guna and a little tamo-guna. Such people may be endowed with courage, bravery, efficiency, and then of course strong determination, iron determination, willingness to make, willingness to part with their wealth for the good of others. So such people are called kshatriyas. A predominance of rajoguna, with some sattva-guna and some tamo-guna. Then the third category, they have a lot of rajoguna and tamo-guna and also some sattva-guna. They may be interested in making wealth, in trade, in business. They may be very active in those professions. They may be born with that tendency. So people who are born with that tendency may be called Vaishyas. Then there are those who may not have any of these tendencies. They may be naturally withdrawn, not because of wisdom, but because of inertia, laziness, or indifference, total lack of interest in any noble undertaking. Such people may be called Sudra. They may have tamoguna pradhana. They may be interested in doing some external manual work, nothing beyond that. They may not have any higher aspiration. So these four groups are four levels of human psychological types based on their natural tendencies, instinctive tendencies. It has nothing to this structure. This classification has absolutely nothing to do with birth. That's an important point, remember. So Shankaracharya says the whole humanity who belongs to any or all of these types. Maybe in the same family there could be people with highly contemplative type like brahmanas, maybe more active, dynamic, efficient, brave, maybe kshatriyas, and also those traders, vaishyas, and so on. So this Vaidika Dharma is meant for the whole humanity who belongs to these different psychological temperaments. Now we'll continue the discussion in the Bhashya. Now, Bhashyagara wants to explain a very important part of this Vedanta Dharma. What happens in course of time, what happens in the process of the evolution of human civilization and culture? Was a need for writing such a book like Gita? I mean, what's the reason for a great teacher like Lord Krishna to be born and teach this great spiritual classic to Arjuna? There is a need for great spiritual teachers like Lord Krishna to be born with the purpose of teaching these great spiritual values to humanity. That point is discussed here. Dirghena kalena anushthātrinam kāmodbhavat hiyamana viveka vijnana hetukena adharmena abhibhuyamane dharme pravardhamane cha adharme jagatah sthitim paripipalayishuhu sa adikarta nārāyaṇaḥyo vishnuhu bhaumasya brahmano brahmanattasya rakshanatham devakyam vasudevat absena krishna kila sambhabhuva. So what happens to dharma in course of time? If the Lord had created this Vaidika Dharma, which is twofold, pravritti dharma, nivritti dharma, then why should there be problems in this world? He created 10 Prajapatis first and then Sanagadeka later. Prajapatis were supposed to practice pravritti dharma, and Sanaga, Sanatana, Sanat Kumara and others expected to practice nivritti dharma. There was a need for a scripture like this to be taught by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, and there was a need for such an incarnation. What's the meaning of an incarnation? Why should there be great spiritual teachers in this world? Why are they born from time to time in different cultures and different traditions? That point is discussed here. So, dirghena karena anushthātrinam kāmodbhavat hiyamana viveka vijnana hetukena. So, what happens is, when people who are supposed to practice Vaidika Dharma, or people who are known to be practitioners of Vaidika Dharma, when they deviate from that Vaidika Dharma, then what happens? Dharma itself may be misunderstood or misrepresented. If those who openly reject Vaidika Dharma do not practice it, it's not going to affect the tradition. But when those who are supposed to be practitioners, or those who are supposed to be the representatives of Vaidika Dharma, deviate from that tradition and do things which are detrimental to the teachings of Vaidika Dharma, then what happens? People start developing misunderstandings. Vaidika Dharma itself gets misinterpreted and misrepresented. A great distortion takes place. So, when such a situation arises, dharma will slowly fade away, and in its place, adharma will begin to prosper. That's a very serious crisis. Then the Lord Himself takes a human birth, and then He may live the life of an ordinary person, but it will be a combination of the human and the divine. He may have the human form, may be born as the son of a father and mother. his parents may not be extraordinary beings, but gradually they will begin to develop some divine attributes. They are called avatars, they are called incarnations, special manifestations of God or the divine reality. And they bring forth the best of the traditional spiritual wisdom that is slowly beginning to be misinterpreted, and then they practice it, then they reinterpret and they hand out to the humanity. So that's how an incarnation becomes a mighty instrument in the hands of destiny for the preservation of the higher spiritual heritage of humanity. Yada yada hi dharmasya glani bhavati bharata apyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyakam. So wherever there is a decadence of dharma due to the mad practice or the hypocrisy of those who are supposed to be practitioners of dharma, and as a consequence adharma may also begin to prosper, then that's the right time for the Lord to be born as a human being, blending in his personality the best of the human and the best of the divine, and he brings forth the best of the traditional wisdom of Vedas. He will practice in his own life and will hand out the posterity. That's how he preserves the Vaidya Dharma. This has happened in the history of Sanatana Dharma a number of times. Dishawataras and other great spiritual teachers. Dirghena kalena anushthātruṇāṃ kāmo bhavat. Here, anushthātruṇāṃ is mentioned here. Literally means, those who are practicing. Actually, they do not practice. They are supposed to be practitioners. Or they go by that name. Or others may be under the delusion that they are the true representatives of Sanatana Dharma, but actually they may fail in their role. Due to this problem, what happens? Kāmo bhavat, they become selfish. They start working for fulfilling their own selfish desires. Selfish desires begin to emerge in their mind. Then what happens? Viveka and Vijnana they begin to take a back seat. They begin to decline, and in direct proportion to this, there is an increase of adharma. Then the Lord begins to worry about the preservation, about the destiny of humanity, and he wants to preserve it, protect humanity. Then what happens? He takes birth as a human being, and we call them avataras or incarnations. So there is an interesting expression here. Jagadasthitim paripipalayishu sa adhikarta nārāyaṇaḥyo vishnuhu bhaumasya brahmano brahmanattasya rakshanārtham. Actually, this is a restatement from Mahabharata. In the Shanti Parva, Yam Devam Devaki Devi Vasudevat Ajijanat Bhaumasya Brahmano Guptai Deepta Atnimivarani. So Shankaracharya has taken, most probably he may have taken this idea from the Mahabharata. So Bhaumasya Brahmano Brahmanattasya Rakshanārtham is a much more beautiful description of this phenomenon than what you find in the Mahabharata. So Devakyam Vasudeva Damsena, Lord Krishna was born. If you look upon him as a human being, he was born as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. So this one word Kidasambabhuva. So that should be understood in the context of Advaita philosophy. Advaita philosophy traditionally doesn't accept avatars. But it does accept the possibility of some highly endued spiritual personalities taking birth. At the empirical level, we cannot roll out what we experience. All people are not of the same type or the same spiritual attainments. So there are some great teachers who are born from time to time in different communities and cultures, who are born with a mission and who actually enrich the spiritual heritage of humanity. That point is accepted, but that incarnation is real only in the on the relative level. So that's why it is called Kila, I mean as if you accept this word, then incarnation is real. So the moment you realize, you reach a stage where the world appears to be a relative entity, mithya, then you transcend that concept, that's all. So that's why Lord Krishna himself says, Avajanandi mamudha manushim tanumasidam param bhavam ajanandu mama bhuda maheshwaram. So Lord Krishna himself says in the Gita, so those who look upon me just as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, they don't really understand me. Manushim tanumasitam. Brahmanuratman, Paramatma cannot accept a body, cannot appear in the form of a human body. So it is only a relative phenomenon, not an absolute phenomenon. From the highest Advaita point of view, even incarnations belong to the relative realm. That's the idea behind. Because it is said, Brahman or Atma is Aja and Avya, etc. Brahmanattvasi rakshane rakshita syat vaitiko dharma tad adhinatvad varnasrama bhedanam. So, if Brahmanatvam, or rather, that means Brahmanatvam or Bhauma Brahma should be understood to mean Vedas. So, what is Bhauma? Bhauma is that which is visible. The earth is visible. Bhumi is visible. Atman or Paramatma Brahman cannot be seen with these eyes. But if you can ever think of, visualize Brahman, it is the Vedas or Vaidika Dharma. So, if Vedas are protected, if this Vaidika Dharma is protected, if Brahmanatvam, which is the representative Vaidika Dharma, is protected, then Varnasrama Bheda, everything will be protected. That's the idea behind it. Now Bhashyakara continues. Such a Bhagavan Jnana Aishwarya Shakti Bala Vigya Tejo Visada Sampannaha Trigunatmikam Vaishnavim Swam Maya Mula Prakritim Vasikritya Aja Avyayaha Bhudanam Isharaha Nitya Suddha Buddha Mukta Subhavaha Apisan Swamaya Dehavan Iva Jada Iva Cha Lokāna Griham Kurvan Iva Selekshate. So, Bhashyakara himself will explain Achindya Prabhanja Rajana Shakti, Prakriti, Maya, etc. So, it is explained here. Such a Bhagavan Jnana Aishwarya Shakti Bala Vigya Tejo Visada Sampannaha, because he is Bhagavan, Aishwarya, Samagrasi, etc. We already described earlier. Sada Sampannaha. So, if the Lord, if God is endured with all these bhagas, then why should he be born? Well, if somebody wants to be born, that person should be in want of something. He may have some desire. He need not be born unless he has some desire. But it is not correct to assume that Bhagavan himself has some desire. So to achieve that desire, he is born. It is inconceivable. So that's why it is said, it mentioned here, Ajaha Amveyaha Bhudanam Isharaha. Vishnu is Aja. Aja means Sadvikara Atida. Jayade, Asti, Vardhade, Viparinamade, Apakshyede, Vinashyati. These are the Sadvikaras. Anything that belongs to time belongs to Sadvikaras. Vikara means change. 6 changes. Birth is a change from a state of non-existence into existence, and then existing. Asti. Vardhade means growing, evolving, decaying, and disappearing or death. So, Jayade, Asti, Vardhade, Viparinamade, Apakshiyade, Vinashyati. So, anything in this world which undergoes change cannot be real in the absolute sense of the word real. You may use the word small letter r, real, but you cannot use the word real with the capital letter R. That means anything which undergoes change, it doesn't remain the same for all time, the past, present and future. Cannot be real. Only that is real which remains the same in the past, present and future, and which is totally free from any of these 6 changes. So Aja, so Bhagavan is Aja, he is not born, which means he is not born, that's why he is free from any of these changes. He is beyond time, beyond space, beyond causation, beyond Maya, beyond relativity. He is absolute. Sadvikara Atita and Avasthatraya Abhātita. These are the terms used to describe the absolute reality. Sadvikara Atita and Avasthatraya Abhātita. That's why Aja and Advaya are used here. So Bhagavan is Bhagavan Jnana Aishwarya Shakti Bala Virya Tejopi Sada Sampanna. And Bhagavan is Ajaya and Avaya Vinashanikita Sadvikara Atita and Bhudanam Ishwaraka Nitya Suddha Buddha Mukta Svabhava. By its very nature, Bhagavan is pure. Purity itself is awareness, is ever free from all bondage. Its very nature. So that Bhagavan won't be in need of being born. So that's why it's Trunatmikam Vaishnavim Swamaya Mula Pragatim Vasikritya. Vaishnavim Maya Vishnoho Iyam Iti Vaishnavi. That Maya belongs to Vishnu. So Vishnu is Maya Athisya, not Maya Athena. This Maya itself is an instrument that Vishnu can use for his purpose of taking birth. Vishnu is not within the control of Maya. Maya is within the control of Vishnu. That's why it is called, Swamaya Mula Prakriti. Prakashena Kriti Yaya Sa Prakriti. The first evolute. That is Mula Prakriti. The original cause. That Maya is Vaishnavi. Vishnu Iyam Iti Vaishnavi. It belongs to Vishnu. Swam belongs to Vishnu. So in that case, he won't be born because only those who are within the control of Maya will be born. Birth means being born and going through these Sadvikara, 6 changes. Vishnu cannot be born and go through the Sadvikaras because Vishnu is Aja, birthless, unborn. So what's the meaning here? That's why it is Dehavaniva, Lokanugraham Kurvanniva, etc. He is not born. What happens, so Maya Dehavaniva, as if he is born. Not really born, as if it is born. So from the highest Advaita perspective, even incarnation's birth itself is just a relative experience. It is not absolutely real. That's why Lord Krishna himself said, Mayam tu pragudim vidhim mayinam tu maheshwaram That's why Mayam tu Prakritim Vidhi Mayinam tu Maheshwara. So, Avajananti Mamudha Manushim Tanumasidam Parambhavam Ajanantu Mama Bhuta Maheshwara. Those who do not know my true nature, they think I am born with this body, I am born as the son of Devaki, Vasudeva, etc. But his birth, etc. are real only in the relative plane, not in the absolute perspective, absolute standpoint. That's why the word Iva is used again and again. Buddhanam Isharo Nitya Suddha Buddha Mukta Subhavaha Apisan Sumaya Dehavaniva Jada Iva Lokānigriham Kurvan Iva Lekshate. Loka itself is mithya, is only relative. It is not absolutely real. So why should there be a birth by the Lord for the preservation of the world? So all these are at the relative level. So the Advaitic standpoint is strongly emphasized even in this particular context. Now we will continue the discussion with Bhashya. That's why Lord Krishna is Bhagavan, as I mentioned already. Jnana Shakti Bala Aishwarya Virya Tejam Seseshataka Bhagavad Shabdavachyani Vina He Gunadibhi. So, Lord has got all these characteristics: Jnanam, Shakti, Bala, Virya, Aishwarya, Teja, etc. There is nothing to be rejected or given up. Everything is complete and perfect in the highest degree of perfection in the Lord. So, still that Lord is born. That's why he said he doesn't need anything. Still he takes birth at the relative plane for the preservation of the world, which is at the relative plane. It's real only in a relative sense. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Pranastu.